All right, guys, we are back and we have a very special guest today. Somebody Ali and I have been following pretty closely for, I don't know, the better part of probably 6 months now, something like that. But Adam has been building a company in public simultaneously while balancing a full-time job, which is an act in itself. But Adam is the founder of Fibbler and has built something really cool that we've actually been using internally at Understory too. But yeah, we're pumped to have him. So, Adam, I'd love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, your job at Rillian, Fibbler. Let's kick things off.
Yeah, really, really good to be here. I follow you both, and I follow a lot of people at your company. Actually, I find that it's hard to get a lot of people to post at a company, but I think you have succeeded pretty well, which is awesome. No, but as you said, I have founded this company on the side of my full-time job, and kids and all of that. So it's hectic. But it works when you're passionate about something, right? I've been working for various tech companies for the last 10 years. I have been, founding small things on the side for a while before this as well. I did a small community, a podcast, and so on. It kind of led me to this point, I think. And then as it typically goes for a founder, right, you find a pain point that you can't bear and you try to create something. For us, it took a year from idea to, the first product that didn't suck. And here we are then 12 months later after that. So I mean, it's a long process, but I'm just really pumped to be able to do something that I'm passionate about, I think.
I can totally resonate with that. Ali and I, we tried to build a business in the past that we weren't as passionate about, and it just never took off. And then we found a niche together. Ali and I have been friends for 15 years, but we found a niche together. I guess it was 3 years ago now, and it never really took off until you found that passion too. Because at the end of the day, if you feel like it's a job, you're not going to want to work the amount of hours that are dedicated in order to get the thing done and make it actually a quality product. So can very much resonate with you as an entrepreneur. That's really cool. And you have a co-founder as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, like these days now with the AI boom, etc., a lot of people are building stuff on their own. When we started thinking about this, I don't feel like that was as big as it is right now. So, but luckily I also have a very, a close friend here where I live in Sweden, and we have been, building small stuff before, and his big dream is to work for himself, right? So when I came with this idea, he was very much, just tell me what to do, I will try to do it. And he has been reading the LinkedIn ads API documents from top to bottom for a long time now. So he's really trying to understand marketing, but he will never really understand marketing.
Yeah,
But
well, that's why you're there, right?
exactly. No, but I think it's great. I think we can talk about this also, like finding the right person to do something with. I don't think it's an understatement how important that is. And we truly enjoy being around, talking to each other. And without that, I'm not sure we would have even made it this far. And I think
Yeah,
you have the same.
that makes a ton of sense to Ali and I. It's near and dear subject to our hearts too, because we've been looking for that technical person. We're reasonably technical each, but we're looking for that really technical person to help us build some ideas that we've had. And it is a tough thing to do. I think the reason Ali and I are able to make things work is because we know each other so well. We know each other's families. We had dinner with our parents literally last
Yeah.
weekend, right? That kind of trust goes a long way, and it's really hard to build something with someone you don't trust necessarily. They're new to your life, or they don't understand the way your brain works. Yeah, so trust me,
And I mean, at some point, it ends up being like, okay, now we own this company together, we're making money. And if you don't, if you can't have those conversations and align on what you want to build, I think that's when it goes really bad. And I mean, there are tons of stories that you see on LinkedIn that's really bad, right?
exactly.
And I think that's a good way to avoid it.
Totally. Yeah, I think people say all the time, don't start businesses or work with friends or family, but the alternative is strangers.
Exactly.
The stranger. And, trust is obviously a huge part of it, but also just sharing a long-term vision. It could be a short-term exit for one person, but a long-term like IPO or something for the other. And even though you trust each other, that vision, if it's not aligned, then it won't really work out. So I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, I mean, just an example of that, like we've been building this on the side right now. My co-founder is stepping in full time because I'm not saying he's the bottleneck, but development is more the bottleneck than I am, which is like now he's, writing his own contract, right? And he's paying his own salary to himself, right? If you're not really close and have that trust, it's very you would have to have a lot more documents in place, right, where to make sure you're safe. So I think I'm really happy with that we did find each other. I think 10 years ago now.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a really cool story. So with that said, you guys have reached 100K in ARR. You're pretty public about that. You've posted that online. It sounds to me like content's been a massive pillar for just getting the word out about Fibbler, but I'd love to hear the story about how you guys have grown as quickly as you have to where you are, what the roadmap looks like, what's the goal for 2025. Talk us through some of that.
No, I mean, before Fibbler, I think I've been active on LinkedIn as a platform for maybe 3 years. I've been, slowly chipping away, posting, building my audience. And most of the people are similar roles as myself, right? Demand gen, growth, paid. So at the point where we actually launched Fibbler, I think I had, an audience of maybe 20,000 people. So I had a good base of people. And without it, I'm not sure we would have taken off. Maybe at some time, but it would have taken much longer, I think. So it became very natural for me to just include Fibbler and the way it worked in kind of my everyday posting more than that I started posting about it. So that was very natural. And then I've had to kind of, find a good structure to not be overly promotional, right? To maybe, I will write about something of value, and then I might, ship it in for a little bit towards the end about how that could help you. But I think it's important, and I'm really trying to stay true to that, to not be overly promotional about it. And so far, that has worked really well. When people need stuff, they will find it. And I mean, so I don't think you have to scream everything too loud. You need a narrative. You need obviously to be aggressive about what your thoughts are, but you don't necessarily need to scream about your capabilities, right? And I think what also helped us is we were kind of first in a way not necessarily in looking at the data is out there, companies are using that, but maybe looking at it in that way and in that price point, and that of course helped to grow us in the beginning, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I can't agree with you more also on the way you post. And it is midsummer for you. That's awesome.
Exactly. I'm having a beer here.
Yeah. But the way you post too, I mean, Ali and I do the same thing. We post about tactics that we're doing, right? It's like the work that we're actually working on for our clients, for ourselves internally, that other people might find cool, but it's just stuff that we're doing anyway. So why not post about it? And at the end of the day, it's like you don't need to be overly promotional. You have a booking link in your calendar.
Exactly.
You have company branding. For you guys, you have the awesome pink lion.
Exactly.
We need a cool mascot like that. We don't have anything. Maybe we need like a talking.
That is your next step, I feel.
Yeah, like a talking tree. I don't know. Maybe we can do something like that.
Exactly.
But no, I mean, if you have strong branding and if you have the easy, low friction ways for people to get in touch with you, the product sells itself. It's like what they're buying is you and your brain and the way you think, right?
No, and that has been really important for me. Since I have had limited time, I have a full-time job, I have kids. We had to create a product that could sell itself, at least in the beginning. I've still had maybe 5 demos in total of the product because I really try to stay away from that now since we have to prioritize our time. At some point we might become too complex, so we need to start doing that. But since we started with that mindset of, okay, you come into this product, the data, you need to connect your data, then you should be able to feel value. I think that has also helped. I mean, then we have had some kinks along the way, people not understanding, of course, but I mean, the vision of doing that also helps.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So you guys are almost entirely PLG at this point.
100%. Yeah. We're I run 0 demos at this point. I've run maybe 5, and yeah, all of our users comes in and upgrades naturally. And of course, I also realized that we could grow faster by having someone actually doing sales in a better way than we are right now. But as of right now, we are quite okay with that. I mean, we have accepted that we are growing as fast as we can with the means that we have, more or less.
Makes sense. I mean, Understory is a Fibbler customer. We use your product a lot. Ali can talk a lot more about the use cases that we're doing. I mean, Ali is the one who put Fibbler on the map for me and for the rest of our team. Ali, I don't even know. I think you came across it maybe from LinkedIn. But I mean, we signed up, PLG Motion. Ali got involved. Ali learned how to do everything. Ali taught the rest of the team. And now Fibbler is a core component of our tech stack for a lot of our clients. So
But I think that's also like most marketeers that I meet are like Ali or myself. Like typically we can sign up for a product. We are somewhat technical. We can figure out what the product usually does. And if we can't, then it's a problem with the product. But I think honestly, I think marketeers in general are very like advanced in that sense that, you know, most of them have tried a lot of tech in the past. At least they know what they are trying to achieve, and then there are of course exceptions of that, but at an aggregate level at least.
yeah, and I think most really innovative marketers in general have even tried to build their own tools with the LinkedIn API,
Exactly,
right?
that's what I
So
mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
and if you can work
exactly.
around the LinkedIn API, there's no problem using a tool like Fibbler. But Ali, I
Exactly.
mean, I'd love to hear some of your favorite use cases that we've been doing for our clients with Fibbler and talk a little bit about that. And the other question I have for you, Adam, this is like a twofold question. So Ali, what are we seeing work best? What are our favorite flows that we've been doing at Understory? But two, what's on the roadmap for Fibbler? I think you've mentioned AI agents as a next addition. But Ali, let's talk a little bit about the stuff we've been doing, what we've been seeing work, and then a little bit more about the roadmap as well.
Yeah, for sure. And what I'll say, I think what won me over with Fibbler, besides the branding and all of that, was really just, I think, the aha moment of the simple, just like connect your LinkedIn ad account, connect your CRM, and then have the influence data. Like, you know, we talked about this right before we started, Adam, that I was at Metadata and we did a lot of that attribution. But I think in some ways it gets overly complex when you start to build so many different parts of this platform. And Metadata is an amazing tool and has a lot of capabilities. But what I love about Fibbler is just that like quick and easy like aha moment. Like you connect everything and then you see the data right in front of you. So I think that's what won me over. And just to backtrack a little bit, because I really want to talk about this, but like, you know, just to address the elephant in the room, like you work a full-time job, Adam, like how do you prioritize your time? Could you do it at a different company that wasn't Rillian? Like, do you think it would work? What like agreements do you have in place without giving too much confidential information? Like, I definitely want to talk about that a little bit, and how you're able to, you know, not just balance promotional posts for Fibbler for your own marketing for Fibbler, but also just promotional posts for a company that you're starting that's not the one that you're working at full time. So I would love to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think I would have started at Rillian if I weren't allowed to do that. At that point, I would have probably gone full time with Fibbler and just take a very low salary. So I'm very lucky that I could do this. I mean, I've been working with my CMO that I have now for I don't know 4.5, almost 5 years now. So she's really. I worked with her at a company called Get Accept in the past for 3 years or maybe 4 years even. And then I moved to Rillion because of her. She moved there first, and then I kind of came along to run the demand gen things. And I actually created Fibbler in the first place a little bit also because of her. Like she was always nagging me about, you know, yes, I get that this LinkedIn ads thing, you think it's working great, but we need to show it to the board, right? You need to find a way to show it to the board. And that was kind of, you know, the first spark of the idea that, okay, we need a simple board, some influence stuff about how impressions affect companies and deals in the CRM, right? And since then, she's been the greatest supporter, honestly, without demanding anything back, really. I think it's the trust part, right? She knows that I will be doing my job as an employee at Rillion, and I will fulfill everything that we have talked about. And then she and them are completely fine with me doing this on the side because it's, you know, I mean, it gets them more visibility as well, even though I'm promoting my side company where I'm earning money from. But I agree. I could not do this at any company. I mean, for sure. Some companies could also feel threatened, right? I think it helps also that we have massive different audiences, right?
Exactly.
Rillion sells to a CFO finance office. I mean, completely different. And we sell to marketeers, right? So it's very, but yeah, I'm very thankful for that. Honestly, it has been great.
I think that point in general makes a ton of sense because the issue is a lot of people who are building in public and building these, I guess, micro SaaS that could come in and turn into a much bigger product. They're typically building in a niche that they're already working in. So if someone's working in marketing, they build a marketing tool, something like that. If someone's working in finance, they build a finance tool. You built a tool that's completely different from the company that you're working at. So there is that competitive edge that's just gone. You don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. And it's something I think entrepreneurs who are starting a SaaS product should really think about. If you're competing with your company, good chance you're not going to last long at that company and you're going to go from a salary plus your side hustle / entrepreneur journey to just your side hustle / entrepreneur journey really quickly.
Exactly.
So yeah,
It would be harder if Ali and you created this company when he was working at Metadata, as an
totally.
example. Not a good fit.
No,
So I mean, yeah.
And we've had that issue in the past where, we've brought on contractors or something like that weren't necessarily on a full-time basis, and they might be running a competitive company on the side, which is totally fine. We knew that hiring them on. But as you continue to grow and scale, that becomes harder and harder. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, to tie it back into the use cases, like I'd love to talk about that and some of the favorite things we're doing right now. Going back to just like the simple aspect of Fibbler and the aha moment, like we're absolutely using it for influence, like attribution and reporting that way, like exactly as it's intended. But as you know, Adam, like GTM engineering and Clay use cases are very central to our business. So we're always looking for different ways to incorporate tooling into Clay and your webhooks and all of that. And so you guys have developed that. One use case we're working on right now and rolling out to our clients is actually almost like de-anonymizing the company engagement data that we're getting from Fibbler. So basically the flow right now is we're pulling all of those companies that are engaging with our ads into HubSpot, like the intended use case with Fibbler. We're enriching the company level data with the amount of ad clicks. And then we're pulling all of that into Clay with their HubSpot integration. And what we're doing, and Alex, you can talk about the actual technical side of the table and the workings and all of that, but we're pulling in all of the job titles that we're targeting in that ad campaign and then enriching those titles at those companies. And so we're finding all of the different LinkedIn profile URLs of those job titles that are exactly what we're targeting in the ad campaign for the companies that are clicking on our ads. And I understand it's never going to be one-to-one because you can't identify exactly who it is, but we're pushing all of that information to the CRM. So at least we have it because, for a lot of our companies that we're working with, they're enterprise B2B SaaS. One person isn't going to make a decision. One ad isn't going to convince somebody to buy a six-figure piece of software. And so having all of that data, all of the relevant context that you're targeting anyway or should be over the ads, I think is really important. So I think right now that's the coolest use case. And
this is it's a crazy cool use case, I have to say. We have to collaborate more on this. I hear that. No, but I mean, I'm also a proponent of like niching down on titles, right, in your ad campaigns, because then if your sales team is even if it's not automated, right, and they are reaching out through sales nav, it's pretty easy to figure out if you know what kind of titles you're targeting. It's pretty easy to figure out, but doing it like this in an automated way, that's really cool.
Yeah. So the flow, what it actually looks like is we started it with our own company first for our own ads because we're running our own ads. We have a retargeting layer. We have cold ads. We do the whole thing. Right. But with that said, as the impressions, the engagements, clicks, everything comes through, we push it on a recurring schedule within Clay because Clay now has scheduled enrichments, which has made life really cool. So we can every week push this information directly to Clay and it'll track the number of engagements. From there, we can create those as columns. So clicks, impressions, total engagements. You can categorize them based on the number of engagements, set filters and triggers that'll say once a company has crossed this number of engagements, add them to this campaign. And what you can do from there is you can overlay the exact job title. So Ali sent me a list of the exact job titles that we were targeting on LinkedIn. I did a find people search also on a scheduled enrichment. So this is scheduled too. So every week it's going to pull in the engagements. It's going to find those job titles at that company, limit it to 20. Because usually we're not overlaying more than 20 job titles. Sometimes it's a lot less. But if we're doing that, it'll pull in those people. Once those people pull in, we'll find their email addresses, we'll find their LinkedIn URL, and we'll add them to a HeyReach campaign. The reason we use HeyReach and not email first is because these people are engaging via LinkedIn. We know that they're in platform already on LinkedIn, so why not start there, right? So what we can do is we can find their LinkedIn profiles, we can push them to a campaign, and we can use messaging like, hey, looks like we might share some common interests and blah, blah, blah. You're not saying, hey, I know you clicked my ad campaigns. Although you can. I'm honestly not opposed to that because I think people are impressed with the level of detail that you're able to get to with this kind of tech too. So they might be interested regardless just because of that. But you can push them to a campaign directly in the platform in which they're engaging on. And you can go through HubSpot. You can go directly natively through the Fibbler webhook. You can do it however you want to push it into Clay. But this is a really cool flow. I haven't seen anyone else doing this yet. So
no, I have never seen that either.
Yeah.
I mean, what I have seen is companies, pushing it and then of course enriching, random ICP contacts that they think is relevant, but not necessarily related to the campaigns you're doing, right? Really cool.
Yeah, and then at the same time, if you don't get a response via LinkedIn, how easy is it to go find their work email, send them an email too, and just use it as a nudge? Be like, hey,
I mean, we should even be able to maybe even ideally send the titles in the webhook as well, right? That would be
that would be amazing.
But yeah. would be even better. Good,
Yeah.
good thinking.
So that's a use case we're doing, but that's kind of how we're blending the. I mean, look, we're an all-bound agency. That's what we preach. That's what we brand ourselves with, and it's what we actually do. So for us, this is a really easy way. It's very easy for us to go from outbound to paid. It's a little bit harder to go from paid to outbound. So this is an opportunity for us to reverse the script and go from paid to outbound versus the other way around, which is how we typically would do it. So like I said, I'm not seeing anyone else do this, and Fibbler has enabled us to do this at a level of granularity we weren't able to previously. Like you said, people have known how to use LinkedIn Ads API for a long time. It's been a thing. LinkedIn Ads have been around for a long time. But making it this easy, it's brand new.
And now, of course, when you're running something that's going well, then it's, I mean, it's just a time frame when there's gonna pop up a million different SaaS tools, right? And then we come back to the brand and what you stand for, the vision, right? So I'm not worried in a sense, but I know it's going to happen. It's already happening.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about our B2B. There's been a million copycat. I mean, our B2B
maybe not in the same volume as our B2B, but yeah.
There's a million website de-anonymization tools.
Exactly.
Whether it existed before or after, whether Adam invented it or not, up in the air, whatever. But regardless, Adam made it mainstream, and because he made it mainstream, there's been a million copycats since. Tools like Instantly. All kinds of tools that had nothing to do with website de-anonymization added a website de-anonymization layer to their product. It's a real thing. Clay, they're loud. They have an incredible brand. Now there's all kinds of copycats like Freckle, Persona, all these different things coming out, and everyone wants to be the next Clay. So that's it's business. It's a competitive sport, right?
Exactly. So. And I mean that's also what the brand is a strong thing. What you're able to build up, and obviously the brand is not just putting on a cool mascot. It's more about people buying into the vision, and you're actually running something that they believe in. Building in public also is something I think helps doing that. Like you're transparent how it's going for your company. Makes sense to want to be a part of that. A lot of people are, of course, a bit damaged from the traditional vendors in the past, right? You have no clue how a 6 Sense is doing financially, right?
Yeah, completely. And it's there's pros and cons, right? The pro is people know about you, you're making more noise, it's free marketing, you get user feedback in real time, people can comment on your post and say, hey, I wish you were doing this, I wish Fibbler had this use case, I wish Understory offered this. They can say that.
Yeah.
They can do all of that. The con is copycats and people stealing your ideas. But
exactly.
Whatever. You know what it is? It is what it is. Like you said, if you have a strong personal brand, you can end up winning in the long run anyways. It doesn't really matter.
100%.
I think the only downside also is speed the copycat. The more noise you make, the more people see it, and the more people who might be really technical or might have really
good ideas. We've had that already. I mean, we've had customers that are still customers launching their own product, which is basically the same, right? Which is fine as long as you have like your own angle and narrative to it. I'm totally like, it's not revolutionary tech in that sense. It's not coming up with something new AI wise. This is an API that we're utilizing in a new way. That's a different thing. So I'm completely fine with that, and I'm completely fine if you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But to me, also the ease of use of Fibbler is a massive component of why we love it too. Like for example, I was talking about the outbound play that we're doing it in Clay. But at the same time, you can use this as an always-on trigger, right? So it's like you set it up once. It takes a couple hours maybe to figure it out and get the exact use cases, the filtering, all the different exclusions, things like that set up. You can also do an exclusion list directly in HubSpot through Clay, by the way. But the other thing too is it just can set alerts. So like let's say, for example, it runs every week, where you can even set it to run every day if you want. But if it runs every day, you have a trigger that notifies you in Slack. This company has clicked on your ads 500 times, something like that. Now that you know that's happened, okay, this company is clearly interested in what you have to say. They're clearly interested in your company. Whether it's automated or whether it's a manual effort, you can have a Slack notification go to you, the founder, the sales team, whoever it is, and reach out to that company directly and say, hey, looks like you guys might be in market for whatever we do, something like that. And you can get that booked really quickly. But I mean, talk about a better signal.
Yeah, exactly.
One, who clicks on LinkedIn ads unless they're interested, right? It's like clicking on an ad is a pretty funny concept. It's like, oh, that's interesting. It's like you're literally shopping. That's what you're doing. You're shopping. You're just shopping on a computer screen instead of in a store. So yeah, it's a great indicator too. And it's really easy to set up triggers and automations that'll identify those thresholds and send a notification for you to take an action quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think intent data is obviously something that is, hyped right now, but I think also people are tired of intent data they don't understand. I mean, the reason why our B2B went off and website, like, it's very someone visited your website. I can understand what it is. Like, same thing with LinkedIn. they clicked on an ad. I do understand what that means. So I think those are also like, it's just very transparent what this is. It's not your, like the website data is yours, the LinkedIn ads data is not yours, but it's kind of, it's your doing, so to say. So I think that's also strong. I mean, people get what it is.
Yeah, there's only a few intent signals that I think actually make a big difference. I mean, you can find things in the news if it's a public company, and you can run RSS feeds, or you can do automatic agentic searches that are going to determine whether or not there's an intent signal there. Maybe a company had a data breach and you are a cybersecurity company, something like that, right? There's things like that exist, but the intent signals that we're seeing work really well is stuff like this, like what Fibbler can offer. We're seeing things like profile visitors with tools like Teamfluence, tracking influencers via Trigify, things like that. Like those are the signals that we're seeing that are actually driving a massive increase in results. There is a lot of fluff out there with intent that doesn't really work. So it's like being able to identify what works and what's not. Coming to what I saw Clay actually put out a little piece of content yesterday about finding GTM alpha. That I thought that was amazing, because these are all the things that you have to test and try to find your GTM alpha in order to grow at a faster rate than your competitors. Yeah, more tools at your disposal is always a good thing. You just have to use the right ones and not get in over your head and tool overflow.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I had for you, to be honest, Adam. I don't know, Ali, if there's anything else on your mind that you'd like to ask Adam before we jump off.
I think, Adam, for you, like, are you seeing, I guess, customers and users of the product using Fibbler in a way you never even like considered, like just like breaking the tool? Like, what creative use cases have you seen your customers use Fibbler for?
I mean, the whole outbound workflow is never a a use case I would think of myself. Like I'm a marketer first. I've never. That is, we built that solely based on people saying it would be good. It's also bad sometimes, right? You build something that's not necessarily something people want to have. But the outbound motion is something we definitely need to and want to work more on. I mean, it's just in its infancy still, I think. Talking about use cases as you just did, those types of making it easier to do things like that, for sure. But I mean, we also made a lot of mistakes early on. I mean, we pushed a lot for the CRM integration, getting data into your CRM as the source of truth, which is great if you have an ops resource that understand it. Not so great if you're just a head of marketing, you're not super advanced. So we had a lot of issues with that in the beginning. We just push data into the CRMs, and then it's up to them to deal with it, right? Which is also why we're going forward are trying to do a lot in the platform, trying to do a lot of the analytics. I mean, just a couple of days ago, I read a post by you, Ali, about titles and excluding titles and so on, and then I thought, why the heck haven't I thought about this? So we need to build that now, and things like that. I mean, trying to make it easier to get insights and then also take action on the insights is, I guess, the vision. And of course, AI can help with that. I mean, take manual bidding is a good example that a lot of tools are already doing, because it's a freaking hassle to do on your own, right? It can bring down the cost while keeping the same results, but you have to keep track of it all the time. I mean, it's the ultimate AI agent solutions. Obviously, we want to look at stuff like that as well. But I think we have become, I was so, and partly maybe also because of Adam Robinson and RB2B, like his big mistake is very transparent with what was obviously not focusing on the CRM integrations, which made me think I had to focus on the CRM integrations. And now I'm kind of stepping back and realizing, yes, it's good for companies that know what they're doing, but the bulk of companies, they want insights, they want the ability to execute on the insights, and that's it. And I think that's fine. So that's probably the vision.
I have a question about Ali.
I was just gonna say, our clients and everybody's just filled or has like access to so much data, and so the more you can present actionable use cases for it, the better. Yeah, like this is great, like CTRs are up, but like how do we iterate from here? Like companies are engaging, but yeah, what do we do from here? And so making it actionable, I totally agree, is the next step.
You just gave me a thought, and I have a question for you too. So a lot of companies, bigger companies in particular, require SOC 2 compliance, all these different things, right? Which is, let's be honest, it's really expensive to get. But someone like Clay, who already has SOC 2 compliance, right? It's like you can bypass some of the issues too for Fibbler. It's like, for example, if someone wants to use Fibbler to push the engagement data to their CRM. But is Fibbler SOC 2 compliant? I don't know.
No, we don't have SOC 2.
Not yet. But
exactly.
Regardless, you can bypass some of that by pushing the webhook directly to Clay, and then from Clay directly into your CRM. So that's another
And I
thing.
mean, it's a good point. I've never been in as many legal discussions since we
Yeah.
started this company. I mean, it's kind of what helps us. We decided early on that like we don't want to store people's data because we know that's going to be a hassle. So
Yeah.
typically that helps. Like we just call the APIs, right? But I mean, still, there's still a lot of questions, especially if you go up market, right? Then it's gonna be so. Eventually, we are going to have to get that, but that is it have to wait a while. But yeah, I
It's a
completely
journey.
agree.
It's
a journey.
SOC 2 compliance is definitely a journey. The ISO report is also a journey.
Would be a funny LinkedIn post though. We paid more for the SOC 2 compliance than we have in revenue, right?
Yeah, I know. Ali and I talked about it too. We were like, man, this is going to cost us at least $100,000 just to get SOC 2 compliance.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's funny. But like I said, Clay is an easy way for you to bypass that because if you can
That's a
push
good
the
point.
data directly into Clay and then from Clay to the CRM, boom, problem solved.
Good point.
Yeah. So technically through Clay, you are SOC 2 compliant.
Yeah, exactly. We are SOC 2 compliant.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, I know we only
Good.
have a couple minutes left. This has been a ton of fun. Adam, I don't know if there's any questions you have for us. Maybe I'll flip the script on you.
No, but I think honestly, I've been working with paid for many years now, but outbound is, completely new to me. So I think your entire niche of an agency is brilliant. And I think you have to, the ability to educate us regular marketeers, it's really good that you're starting to do that. Like just workflows like that, getting us to understand how we can actually, how outbound could complement, just doing paid ads.
Totally.
It's brilliant.
I also don't, that's a question I've had since the beginning of my time. But why is sending sales emails not considered marketing? It's the same thing. It's like
Yeah,
at the end of the
it's a
day,
very
you're
good
generating
point.
demand, right? It's like,
Yeah.
why has that been a siloed thing that's passed off to sales teams and not marketing? But yeah, I mean,
Do
Ali
you,
and I
do
say
you
all the
see
time.
any, like when you work with companies, do you typically start with outbound or paid, or is it vice versa?
It goes back and forth, to be honest. We have
Yeah.
some clients that come to us because they just want to do GTM engineering or outbound. And then we have some clients that just want to do paid media. But then we have a lot of clients that are coming now and they're saying, hey, how can we blend all these together and do the Understory Outbound approach? So it
Yeah.
comes from both ways.
And I mean, do you see drastically different results doing both compared to one or the other? Or
Totally. And I think one of the things too that people don't understand about outbound is outbound also, even if you're not driving direct responses. For example, let's say for a company, we send 2,000 emails in a week and we get 20 replies, right? You get 20 direct replies. So either, yes, I'm interested. No, I'm not. Yes, I'd like a demo. No, I wouldn't, whatever it is. But what you're not tracking is the influence pipeline too, because these people might not respond to your email, but they might go to your website, right? And then they might read more about your website. Then they get hit in a retargeting layer on a LinkedIn ad, right? And there's all different types of stuff that you can attribute that way too that people don't think about. So I think people, when they're thinking about outbound, they think about it wrong because they think about it in a silo. And they say, okay, am I driving direct responses via email? And it's like, with the cost of email as a channel, that's just not the right way to think about it. It's so cheap, right? And when it's that cheap, it's like, why would you not think about it as like a super targeted ad campaign with personalized messaging? Now, Ali made a post about this the other day too. We're starting to see the rollout of personalized messaging with LinkedIn ads, and you can already do it with Convo ads and things like that. With that said, you're getting super levels of personalization via outbound, and you're hitting the exact person, not even just the job title or something like that. You know this exact person that you just sent an email to.
yeah,
It's a super targeted ad is what it really is. And people are just thinking about it the wrong way, and they think about it as, I need direct response. Direct response is great, but open your mind to the other things that email can do in terms of your funnel.
And I think that's really cool because at most traditional SaaS companies, typically, yes, sales and marketing is trying to work together, but they're kind of siloed still, right?
Exactly.
The outbound sequences is still running through sales. They're writing their own emails. Like it's not.
The messaging isn't even the same. That's the problem.
No.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like people are saying totally different things, and it's what's really your brand identity? Is it the marketing
Exactly.
identity or is it the sales identity? So
It's a problem.
yeah. Well, we exist to bridge that gap. That's what
That's
we always
good.
say.
That's good. I
Yeah.
like that.
Well, cool. I mean, this has been a ton of fun. I think everyone who hasn't tried Fibbler should give Fibbler a shot. We love it at Understory. We've been using it for a while now. Ali is pretty innovative when it comes to anything paid media related, and if Ali brings it to the table, we take it very seriously. We dived in deep on Fibbler. It's become a core component of our tech stack. And give it a shot. Follow Adam on LinkedIn. He's the man and posts great content. And if you see that little pink lion, that's Fibbler.
Good. Thank you.
All right, guys.